Hello and welcome. I'm Maria Ressa. This is Rappler Talk. In 2013, Leni Robredo defeated the matriarch of a political dynasty. But if she wasn't thrust into politics, she also could have been a regional trial court judge. Her involvement in politics, well, that started after the death of her husband, former Naga City Mayor and Interior Secretary Leni Robredo. On October 5, Robredo accepted the challenge to run for vice president. She says the decision-making process was the toughest period she and her daughters have been through since Jessie died. What are the triumphs and struggles of a low-key political wife who's now running for the second highest post in the country? Joining us today is Camarines Sur Representative Leni Robredo. Leni, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
No, I mean, we saw you the day before the announcement that you were going to run. And you talked about the difficulty of this. What made you decide?
I think it's medyo corny, Maria, pero it's really a sense of mission. Parang I refused to see it from that point of view until it was already too late. Because all the talk that I was being considered was there, but the formal I never really took it seriously until the formal offer came. I think second week of September.
Yeah.
When I was formally offered the post, I first told them that it wasn't an option for me. That I was not considering it. Pero yung hiningi lang nila for me to at least be open to the idea. I promised them I would be open. I thought at the time it wasn't too much of a favor to give. But when I started being open about it, started praying for it, parang umiba. I came from one end of the spectrum to the other. But it was a very difficult process in the sense that parang there was a push and pull between yung sense of obligation and the instinct for self-preservation for my family. I guess it was more difficult for a mother to do that. Parang I was thinking if my husband were in my shoes, siguro mas madali for him. Kasi yung sense of mission, parang, yeah. Pero because I was a single parent, I was both mother and father to my children, parang ang hirap. Parang you ask yourself, why would you throw yourself to something like this when hindi sigurado? Parang the chances for succeeding is very small considering my numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Parang I will be exposing myself and my family to so much stress.
Mm-hmm.
Pero why would I do it?
Why?
Parang it's really a sense of mission. Parang because I realized that I have obligations bigger than myself because I was the wife of my husband. Parang it's that And I think it's also the same reason that pushed my children to finally give their blessings.
So they really didn't want you to run?
They didn't want to. Everyone in the family didn't want to. My constituents in the 3rd District didn't want me to accept.
Well, they also don't want you to accept because they'll lose you, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, how would you describe the Philippines today? I mean, what do you see and what do you see yourself doing?
It's both good and bad.
Okay.
Good in the sense that I think we're rich in human resource. If there is anything that we're blessed with, it's people. Pero I think we're still too traditional in the sense that most of us still look at themselves as outside of government. They do not look at themselves as partners in development. Rather, they're spectators. Palagay ko yun yung pinakamahirap.
Yeah.
Kasi your engagement is very different when you look at yourself as a partner or a stakeholder. When you feel you have ownership over programs that government is implementing. Pero I think now kasi parang everyone is critical because everyone sees government as another species.
Yeah.
Parang it shouldn't be like that. So in my 2.5 years as member of Congress, parang I've tried pushing for bills that will force government to give more spaces for people participation, more civic engagement, people empowerment. Kasi the mindset has to change. Parang I don't look at government as a species different from the rest. Pero the mindset is like that eh. Parang I wish more people will become more collaborative instead of critical.
Right. 3 things you need to do to win.
First is awareness.
Yeah.
So many people don't know me yet. Number 2, most of the people who know me only know me as the widow of my husband. So I have to introduce who I am. Third, siguro just to convince people what I am capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that many people are drawn to me because they trust me, given the reputation of my husband. But I think it's not enough. I think people need to realize that aside from being the widow of Jesse, I've been in this fight for so long.
Yeah.
Even when I wasn't a public official yet, I was already a public servant. When I became a lawyer, I devoted all my lawyering life to community service. It's something that was a choice. I have been in this parang in this thing for so long already. Parang lumipat lang ako ng channel, but it's the same.
But you're an outsider who's an insider.
Yeah.
How do you maintain what made you independent inside?
It's still an everyday struggle. Parang I know naman my limitations. I know my vulnerabilities. Parang every day talaga you pray that you be given the strength to resist everything. I am aware that I'm not a paragon of virtue. So every day is really a parang a constant struggle between parang falling into the trap that others have fallen, as against charting your own course.
Yes.
I think it's very necessary that I maintain my core, be the person that I was when I first entered public office. It's something that my husband was successful in, and sana ganun din ako.
He also had his problems though,
Yeah.
dealing with
Yeah.
I guess it's change from within. So let's just talk about party politics and change from within. You joined the government party, the ruling party. Your husband certainly had his stresses, his push and pulls, right? How do you maintain who you are? Again, your independence within this context.
It's difficult in one sense. It's difficult because parang you are expected to be an obedient member of the party. But you know, I think to a large extent, I'm also lucky that the party I'm in respects my individuality. Parang there's never really any pressure to conform. Parang even when I was offered this position, everyone thought that I was being pressured to the highest heavens. But you know, the biggest pressure then was how my family and how my constituents thought about it. Parang yung pressure for me then was not to accept eh. Parang yung party naman, even when they offered, they said that even if I say no, there won't be any hard feelings. They tried to convince me why I was their choice. Pero there are many issues na I know the party stands for, pero wala siyang na you also have to stand for this.
Yeah.
And I think it helps in a way that I don't see myself as being in the center of so many conflicts. Parang sa amin, the party stands for basic values. Pero we are allowed as much elbow room as we need.
What do you see are the strengths and weaknesses of the Liberal Party?
Marami. Kasi yung weakness siguro as administration party, parang you are in the line of fire eh. Parang everything that you do, you have to be answerable to it. And sa atin kasi may mindset na basta gobyerno masama. It is something that we have to contend with. Parang it's part of the equation already. Parang yung advantage naman is you are in a position to do so much. You are in a position to parang to push for things you really believe in. So I think it's both a challenge and a plus. A plus in the sense that nandyan lahat. pero a challenge also because expectations of people are really much higher compared to all other parties.
You're a relative unknown compared to your running mate,
Yeah.
Mar Rojas. And Mar we've seen him come up from the basement. And again, the strengths and weaknesses of running with somebody who has been criticized so much publicly.
Ako, I think the benefit of being a newcomer is that I don't have a lot of baggages yet. Pero the minus also is I have so much to prove. So many people are not aware of me yet. I am thinking na pag nagsama kami ni Secmar, siya lang yung makikilala, ako hindi. So there is so much work to do. Pero I guess the continuing challenge is how do I give honor to the name my husband left behind? Parang yun eh. It's not really just being the wife. Pero I do understand why people look up to my husband. And I cannot ruin that.
In your track record, it shows that you are working for bottom up.
Yeah.
Now you're coming top down. You're moving very quickly from national politics all the way to the top of the food chain. Have you learned enough?
Yeah, and I don't see myself working from the top down still. Even if I will be given the privilege of holding a national position as high up as the vice presidency, I intend to still work with the grassroots. My short stint as member of Congress gave me a lot of lessons regarding this. I think when you empathize more with people, when you really make an effort to go to the most basic, parang you have more heart, you give more heart to the service. It's not really just empathizing with them, but coming up with programs that are more responsive because you empathize with them. Parang empathy is just an instrument to being more effective, and I intend to continue doing that.
It'd be interesting. Who do you consider your toughest opponents now?
I can't really say it kasi right now I think there are 6 of us, and 5 of them are incumbent senators. 5 of them have gone through many national elections already. They're more popular than I am, more name recall, more experience in running national elections, more resources. Parang all the advantages are in their favor. Parang right now it's free for all eh.
Yeah.
Parang you can't really say that there's a front runner or I don't think the surveys can be depended on at this point in time. But I look at myself as being in the bottom rung. Kaya so much work to do.
These elections, do you see them as different? What will make them different? What will guide you as you move through the campaign?
I think people now are more engaged because of social media. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing because dati kasi parang the more traditional kind of politics was you depend on political leaders to make yourself known, to make your platforms known. Pero now there's social media eh. So information is more accessible. People are more empowered. People are more engaged. So I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing because people like us, like me, who are less popular, people like me who have not gone through national elections, I think would have more di ba parang more time to introduce ourselves, more avenues to make ourselves known. I think it's a good thing.
The flip side of that is, of course,
The flip side is that sometimes dito na pumapasok yung little knowledge is dangerous. Parang some people are so parang quick to crucify other people because of the very little information that is available. So I think the challenge really for us in social media is, di ba, parang not to believe everything we see, but to feed ourselves with more information. so that we will be able to engage in a more effective and efficient way.
I'll ask one last question before I take the social media questions, and there's several that have come in now. You always had talked about grassroots.
Yeah.
That's been the bulk of your life's work.
Yeah.
What happens to your district? You helped get rid of a dynasty. What happens now?
Ano naman kasi, when I ran, I didn't look at myself as being there for a long period of time. In fact, I thought the plan was really to just be there in the interim, that I will just be representative for one term. We have chosen, before I became a candidate, Jesse and the entire local party has already chosen our candidate. And because I had to step in, because there were some troubles within the local party, parang I already told our candidate that he has to prepare, because I will be in this for only a short period of time. So parang the mindset was really, I will just be here for 3 years.
Okay.
Of course, at that time, we weren't thinking that I will be trying for another position much higher than being representative. Dati, pag congressman ko, parang too much already. Parang my dream then was just to become a lawyer and eventually become a judge like my father. Tapos biglang naging congressman. I have so much faith in the person that we are endorsing. Palagay ko, I have been telling people that I think he will even be a better representative than I am. He has more experience in lawmaking. Kaya my district will be in very good hands. Kailangan lang talagang, to sustain yung change of mindsets that we have started already. Because when I stepped in, everything was patronage politics. Everything was very traditional. But when I started campaigning, we introduced a new brand of elections, a new brand of campaigning, a new brand of governance. And I think the 2.5 years was sort of sufficient already for people not to allow patronage politics to set in. But I do not know if I am being overly
Old habits die hard, right?
Yeah, but I think it's worth the fight. I told my constituents that my trying for another position is not equivalent to turning my backs on them. But the reality is, if I am given this privilege, I will be in a better position to help not only my district, but the entire province and the entire region.
Joey Salceda, I think you were off stage at this point already. So earlier he said he discouraged you from running because he didn't want to split Bicol. But at the Social Good Summit, he actually said he was throwing his hat behind you.
I saw it. I saw the tweet about it, but I didn't hear it myself.
Do you think that Bicol will be split?
I think to a certain extent, yes. In the sense that we each have our turfs. I'm from Camarines Sur. Senator Cheese is from Sorsogon. Senator Gringo is from Sorsogon as well. So it's a reality we have to face. But elections shouldn't be like that. Elections shouldn't really be regionalistic in that sense. So I think if at all, this will also be good for everyone. Mahirap naman yung black voting eh. I think it's a thing of the past.
I think we hope that this.
Hope.
Lots of questions coming in on social media now. Let me throw one of the first ones from @TomTwitch91. If you're elected as VP in 2016, can you name up to 5 objectives? Let me ask for 3, Tom. Only for 3, okay? Because I want to get other people. 3 objectives you'd like to accomplish.
Actually, I have more. Pero siguro to summarize everything, more emphasis on the kind of governance that starts from the grassroots, because I think in the past 5.5 years under the Pinoy administration, we have achieved so much as far as economics is concerned, and it's time to take care of inclusive growth. It's what we need most right now, and I think pushing for policies that will encourage this is what we really need. Parang ano lang yan eh. Paminsan kasi parang inclusive growth is such a motherhood statement. Pero just to parang be more graphic about it, yung mga tao sa Metro Manila parating nagrereklamo, sobrang traffic, sobrang ganyan. Kasi everyone is here eh. parang the opportunities are here. Yung countryside na grabe yung possibilities, hindi masyado naasikaso. And palagay ko, medyo defective yung structure. Defective siya in the sense that there is really a tendency for government programs to focus more on urban centers.
Right.
And I think it's time to look elsewhere. Parang in my district alone, there's so much promise as far as rural areas are concerned, pero hindi talaga naalagaan.
Okay.
So I think it's time to do that. Number two, I'm very passionate about hunger and poverty. We have launched a program in my district. My district is a pilot program. We call it Partnership Against Hunger and Poverty. By trying to solve hunger not only with feeding programs, because it's not sustainable at all.
Yeah.
If we just go into feeding, it will be a total waste of government money.
Right.
Because that will never be sustainable if we don't tackle the poverty issue.
Right.
So what we're doing now is targeting both. We're trying to make sure that very poor farmers are capacitated, given the opportunity to supply the food requirement of feeding programs by government. Ano naman to? This program is patterned after the Brazil model.
Yes.
Na Zero Hunger program in Brazil, that's been very
Quite successful. Yeah.
and has removed Brazil from the hunger map.
Well, this is part of the work we did. We have #Hunger Project. Right.
And I have filed a food security bill that pushes for this. Yung sa amin hindi lang feeding, pero there's a provision that says at least 30% of what government purchases for their feeding programs will be bought from small-scale farmers. But small-scale farmers should be capacitated by government to be able to compete.
So
parang I'm
the
so
ecosystem.
passionate about it.
Okay.
Tapos yung third siguro, mas general na good governance programs. When I say more general, it's not just one thing kasi. We can talk of transparency, but transparency is not enough. So for government processes should be transparent, but we should pass more laws that will make public officials more accountable. Parang ngayon kulang na kulang kasi yon. Parang so many government officials who do wrong get away with so many things. Number three, people empowerment. I think government should be required to really give more spaces for people participation, so that the ordinary Filipino will now look at themselves as part of government and not outside of it.
Even more now with this generation,
with
right?
social media and everything.
If you want to know more about what Leni's working on this, she was one of the speakers for Global Goals, the Social Good Summit. That you can watch that video, Tom. Here's another one from @Limerick File 11. How independent in governing from the president will you be in case Mar wins? How independent will you be? Well, actually, I'll add a layer to that. The president and vice president are elected separately. So if Mar is elected and you're the vice president, how independent will you be from him? If he's not elected and someone else from a different party is elected, how will you deal with that?
Ako, it's easy to say that I will be very independent. Parang ano naman parang it will just be lip service if I say that I will be very independent. But I can prove that I'm really very independent when you look at the work that I did in the past. Parang my husband was mayor of Naga for so long. People were clamoring for me to take his stead when his term ended. Pero no one was able to push me into really going for it. I charted my own course. First ladies in the provinces are expected to perform a very specific roles, and I decided to parang to do something else. I think people who know me know how independent-minded I am. Of course, it would be very good if the president and the vice president would come from the same party. Because more or less, it will really be a partnership. Kaya sa ibang bansa, diba? Parang when you elect the president, nandun yung vice president. Hindi din makakabuti na nag-aaway yung dalawa. Kasi talaga siya, parang mahirap. I look forward to, if I'm given the privilege to win these elections, I look forward to a Mar Rojas presidency kasi ano talaga parang it will be so much easier to push for my own advocacies pag nagkakaintindihan kami nung principal. Ano yun I think Mar and I will be a very good match. Iba yung kanyang strengths, iba yung sa akin. Kaya I think it will be a very good partnership.
What if you disagree with him?
Ako I think like ngayon I think he respects me enough to understand that I won't have to agree with him 100%. In fact, every time we meet, parati niya sa akin sinasabi na that I feel free to disagree so that we can have more spaces to discuss our disagreements. I think it's healthy. I don't think agreeing all the time will be beneficial to the country.
The Vice President has largely been a ceremonial role. Vice President Binay tried to take over other things. What would you do if you were Vice President? How do you push forward your
Definitely, I will be a hardworking Vice President. Parang sayang naman the role if you don't use it to the maximum, diba? Parang it's a very good platform to push for your advocacy sa the national level. Parang sana lang kasundo mo yung presidente so that walang balakid. Pero ano to parang ako I would want to parang champion more grassroots kind of governance when I get there. Kasi I think it's what's lacking Parang everything is national. Pero hindi siya nabibigyan ng lalim at puso kasi kulang yung grassroots participation. Ini-imagine ko na nga if I be given this privilege, siguro I will be more in the countryside than in Manila. Because it's really parang shifting attention to, 'di ba? Parang you will be in a position where you can influence. You will be in a position where parang you can really parang push for your advocacies in a manner na you were never given that privilege before. Parang I was working for an NGO for so long and hirap kami because we were a small NGO. We were working for the empowerment of the basic sectors, but we were doing it on a parang retail basis because we're small. Parang it's so hard to bring attention to what we were fighting for. Pero if you will be given this stage, parang ang laking bagay. Parang ang laking bagay to empower yung sectors na palagay natin napapag-iwanan.
So there are a lot of questions that you've actually already answered, but just so we address them. At Wired Laurels, except for poverty, which national issue will you concentrate on when you're elected?
Corruption.
Corruption.
Good governance.
You didn't. Good governance, okay. Just me saying at Chadi B is asking, what do you think is the biggest problem our country's facing right now, and what are you going to do to solve it?
Yung mindset Yung mindset that people are not part of government. I think that's the biggest. Because I think when people feel that they're part of government and government is more open to people participation, so much can be done Ngayon kasi parang tingin ng tao kalaban niya yung gobyerno. And it's not because kasalanan ng tao. Siguro may pagkukulang din yung gobyerno kasi hindi masyadong bukas. Palagi ko yung pinaka-challenge talaga. Paano ba yung gobyerno bubuksan yung sarili niya para kasi I think the best solutions come from people who are the most affected.
Are living it, right?
Yeah.
Except for the government to do that, it requires becoming vulnerable.
Oo. Pero I think it's so worth it Parang yung sinasabi. Halimbawa, when I filed the empowerment bill in Congress, some of my colleagues were saying, tayo na yung inelect ng tao why would we still give spaces for people participation when in fact we were elected already by the people? Mas magiging magulo yung usapan. Mas magiging mahaba yung proseso. I think to a certain extent it would be like that. Pero palagay ko yung rewards after would be better. We have tried it in Naga already. We found the best solutions to many of our people's problems because we gave voice to the people early on. Parang parang it's not like they're treated as beneficiaries, but they're really treated as partners in governance. Palagay ko, it means a great deal.
I will take 3 more questions, and there are a lot more coming in, but these are interesting, and I'll just toss them quickly at Chiki. Your opinion on gender equality, legalization of same-sex marriage in the Philippines?
Ako yung gender equality kasi parang masyadong na-romanticize eh. Gender equality is not about women being more superior than men. Pero mas ano siya, mas complementation of roles. I often say this in my speeches, and I think I said this in my Rappler speech. Parang after the death of my husband and my eventual pagpasok sa laban na to, parang women empowerment is knowing where you stand and knowing that your voice is respected. It's not shouting every day and trying to be heard, pero it's knowing when to step up and when to step back. Parang yung gender equality parang it's being confident in the role that you play, and it's not and the role that you play is to complement the other. Yung sa akin lang personal experience ito, Maria, parang there are so many groups who are pushing for women empowerment, gender equality, pero yung realities on the ground iba eh. Parang halimbawa, we talk so much on violence against women. We teach women that these particular acts are violative of their rights. Pero when we don't help them with regards to economic empowerment, we don't really help them at all eh.
Correct.
Parang even if women understand that they're being abused, kahit hindi physical, kahit psychological abuse, economical abuse, parang even if they understand that, diba, parang their rights are being violated because they're not being helped in a way that they can stand up for their rights. Right. Mahirap sabihin eh.
Yeah.
Parang kaya sa amin ngayon, parang binabalanse namin in my district. Parang sa amin, economic empowerment is big. Kasi when women earn their keep, they are in a better position to fight for their rights.
Yeah. I think it starts with that. And on same-sex marriage in the Philippines.
Yung sa akin kasi ano yun eh, parang it's a contrast of 2 schools of thought. I'm a Catholic, devotedly a Catholic. Pero when you talk kasi of rights, it's universal eh. It's not any religion at all. And I think it's the obligation of government to make sure that all rights, whatever your religion is, protected. Diba? And it's the obligation of your own religion to also protect the morals and the values of the flock. Kaya ano yun eh, parang peaceful coexistence dapat. Each government respects the rights of everyone regardless of religion. Yung religion naman, diba, it's not the obligation of government to protect any particular religion.
Yeah. And the last question from Twitter that I'll throw, and you can continue tweeting. Leni is on Twitter at Leni Robredo. This is from at Mr. Mozart. What do you think is the best solution to transport and traffic problems in Manila?
Ako, efficient mass transport system.
Absolutely.
Wala, ano talaga, yun yung pinaka-problema natin. Yung administrasyon natin ngayon is getting all the flack. Pero I think it's a problem that's been there for the longest time. Matagal na dapat na inasikaso ito. Palagi yung solusyon talaga, efficient mass transport system anywhere we go.
Yeah.
Naiinggit tayo pag very efficient yung mass transport system. Yun sa amin, pinaglaban ko din yung PNR. Pero dito sa atin, di ba, parang nandyan naman yung solusyon. Kailangan talagang seryosohin na government should be willing to spend so much to give us this. Mukhang ginagawa naman yun ngayon. Pero syempre, we have every reason to be impatient.
These are complex, what you've talked about today, and distilling a message. How do you distill this message for the mass-based voter, for the people who don't know you?
Ako, I think, I always try to be more candid when I talk to people, especially people I'm meeting for the first time. parang it's so easy for us politicians, especially during election periods, to face the people and say, I love the poor, this is what I'm going to do. Parang it's so easy for us to do that. It's easy for us to craft well thought of development plans. Pero I think it's a narrative that's what's important. Parang kakwentuhan, how well do you know issues? Parang how have you taken these issues to heart? Ano ba yung pinagdaanan mo para sabihin na naiintindihan mo siya? Ano ba yung ginawa mo in the past, whether you at the time you were already a public official or you were just a private citizen? Ano ba yung ginawa mo to prove na mahal mo talaga yung mahihirap? It's difficult because every one of us, the easiest thing for every one of us to do is face the people at say, ganito yung gagawin ko, ang ganda ng aking plano, mahal ko kasi yung mahihirap. But at the end of the day, kung ako, hindi ako yung kandidato, ang tanong ko parati, bakit kita kailangan paniwalaan? And I think everything, again, redounds to the core of the person. Ano ba yung kanyang character? Para hindi siya padadala. Many first-time public officials enter public service with only the very best of intentions. Pero somewhere along the way, umiiba eh.
Yeah.
So, hindi ko sinasabing hindi ako iiba. Kasi I'm as vulnerable as anyone else. Pero I think because I'm aware of that vulnerability, I'm aware of my limitations as a person. So, kaya ko sinasabi ko na every day I'm struggling eh. How do I maintain my core given the kind of environment I'm in? Lalo na yung election. Kasi yung election, parang yung pinaka-drive mo is to win eh.
Yeah.
Parang everything else will pale dun sa promise na mananalo. Pero ang tanong ko, how much of yourself are you willing to lose just to win? Palagi ko yun eh.
And
it's something that I have to ask myself every day. Parang I won't say now kasi magsisinungaling ako para sabihin na, 'di ba? Parang winning is not important because in an elections winning is the most important thing. Pero yun palagi ko yung question, how much of myself am I willing to lose to be able to achieve that?
And you define that every day.
Every day will be a struggle.
You just asked my last question, which is, how do you maintain your core? How do you decide the non-negotiables?
Yeah.
And you do this on a daily basis.
I can't say that, it will be easy for me to say to you now that I will not change at all. I will be maintaining all this. But the realities of every day, especially during election periods, is it's really a battle. Mahirap. So, palagay ko the example of my husband, the fact that I have 3 young children looking up to me, parang the awareness also that some people like me because I'm like this. So how do I maintain the qualities that people like in me? Parang ganon. It's difficult not to be spoiled by everything. But
yeah.
Yun nga.
No, thank you. I mean, that was my last question. And, thank you for your honesty.
Thank
your
you, Maria.
candidness. Good luck on the campaign trail.
Thank
We've
you.
been talking to Camarines Student Representative Leni Robredo, the Liberal Party Vice Presidential candidate. Tweet her at Leni Robredo. We'll continue the talk. We're going to be watching closely. Watch with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
No, thank you. I know we kept